One of the frequently asked questions we receive at the budget office is about how funds for the city and county are split up. As a unified government, we do have a unique city county structure, and so the budget office is releasing a video series explaining the difference between city and county funds, including what the funds are, where the revenue comes from, and what it is spent on. This video will focus on city funds, so if you are a resident of Kansas City, Kansas, this is for you. This pie chart shows how the city funds are broken down by fund type. Most of the funds for the city come from the city's tax levy funds, then the enterprise funds, and next special revenue funds. The tax levy funds hold the city general fund and bond and interest fund. They are called tax levy funds because these are the funds that the city sets the mill levies for. Enterprise funds work similarly to a private business in that the intent is for costs of services provided to be financed through user fees. Special revenue funds hold finances for programs or funds created by city ordinance, state statute, or public vote. Finances within the special revenue funds must be used for the specific purpose they were created for. Here we have a breakdown of the city tax levy funds, which include the city general fund and the city bond and interest fund. The City General Fund finances the functional areas of the budget, and the City Bond and Interest Fund is mostly made up of debt service. Here we have a breakdown of the city special revenue funds. The largest special revenue fund is the dedicated sales tax, and then we have the special street and highway, tourism and convention, special alcohol program, the environmental trust, Wyandotte County 911, special assets, and parks and recreation. Now we're going to talk about each of these funds in more detail. The largest city special revenue fund is a dedicated sales tax. The public voted to approve and extend a dedicated sales tax for public safety and infrastructure through 2030. The Special Street and Highway Fund holds fuel tax revenues from the state of Kansas for road improvements. The fund supports roadway development and maintenance. The Special Parks and Recreation Fund holds liquor tax revenues and supports parks maintenance, recreation programs, and capital expenditures. The Special Alcohol Program holds revenues from special alcohol grants in the Alcohol Diversion Program. Funds support programs in alcohol prevention, treatment, or education. The Tourism and Convention Fund holds revenues from hotel and motel guest taxes and supports the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Sister City initiatives, the Rock Island Bridge Project, and other initiatives that generate tourism. The Wyandotte County 911 Fund holds revenues from the State of Kansas 911 Act and supports projects under this act. The Environmental Trust receives a portion of residential trash revenues for landfill associated costs. The purpose of the fund is to create a reserve for future landfill closure expenses. The Special Assets Fund records revenues and expenditures associated with the sale or acquisition of significant government assets, including land and buildings. Now we'll discuss city enterprise funds. Remember that these funds are meant to be self-supported through user fees. The largest enterprise fund is the sewer fund. Then we have the EMS fund, stormwater enterprise, and the much smaller funds supporting the golf course, stadium, and public levy. The sewer system fund is the primary resource for expenditures of water pollution control. All funds generated are used to fund the debt service and maintenance of sewer treatment operations. The Public Levy Fund is the primary source of revenue for the public levy facility in the Fairfax District. The primary revenues for this fund come from rent and leases, which are used to pay debt service expenses for this facility. The stormwater utility fee supports the Stormwater Fund, which supports the operations, maintenance, capital improvements, and debt service of the UG's separate storm sewer system. Revenues for the Emergency Medical Services Fund come from a 1/4 cent tax and insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, and other individual user payments. The fund supports the fire department's emergency medical services. The Sunflower Hills Golf Course Fund accounts for revenues and expenditures of the Sunflower Hills Golf Course, which is a public course. This fund represents user fees generated from the course and related expenses. The Stadium Fund records revenues and expenditures associated with the baseball stadium. The government purchased the stadium in 2014 with the issuance of $8.1 million in STAR bonds paid off in 2016. That concludes our video on city funds. Stay tuned for more videos on how these funds support revenues and expenditures for the city, as well as videos about county funds.